Ellis B. Feaster's Radio Aircheck and Classic TV channel.
Bernie and Sid start your morning at 6 with a New York attitude. Entertaining and opinionated.
770.
77 WABC New York. News now.
New federal guidelines are set to be released later today aimed at easing restrictions in areas with fewer cases of COVID-19. John Lawrence reports.
The Trump White House will unveil benchmarks to help ease social distancing and try to get things back to where they were before the COVID-19 pandemic. But governors like Andrew Cuomo of New York have the final say on how to reopen their economies.
Let's find out where we are. Let's find out the facts, then we'll make a decision. Everyone has been wrong about everything. For this entire duration.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Millions are receiving their stimulus payments from the federal government this week, but some are at risk of immediately losing the money if they owe credit card, medical, or private student loan debt. 25 state attorneys general warned about the problem in a letter sent this week to Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, asking him to issue guidance protecting the payments from debt collectors. I'm Elliot Francis. Senator Elizabeth Warren is throwing her support behind Joe Biden for president. More from Linda Kenyon.
The Massachusetts senator and former contender herself says America needs former Vice President Joe Biden in the White House.
In this moment of crisis, it is more important than ever that the next president restores Americans' faith in good, effective government.
In an online video, Senator Warren said Biden knows that a government run with integrity, competence, and heart will save lives and livelihoods in this difficult time.
We are all in this together now.
Linda Kenyon, Washington.
CNN host Chris Cuomo says his wife Christina has been diagnosed with the virus. Cuomo revealed last month that he tested positive, and at the time he said he hoped he wouldn't infect his wife and children. While Cuomo says his symptoms caused high fever and even hallucinations at times, he reports his wife is doing fine and taking the diagnosis in stride. I'm Elliot Francis.
Talk Radio 77 WABC presents One-on-One.
With me, Bernard McGurk. And if anybody dead or alive could be president, it should be Tony Soprano. James Gandolfini, actually the character Tony Soprano. Is he dead or is he alive? We don't even know. But when you come to think of it, we actually have Tony Soprano in the White House right now. President Trump.
He had coffee here, Tony. That's all.
And that a coffee maker sucks.
One-on-one. Talk Radio 77 WABC and the 77 WABC app. This is Talk Radio 77 WABC. Coming up at 10 a.m., it's Brian Kilmeade.
I will tell you, there's no smoking gun here.
Then at noon, Curtis and Juliet.
For 3 years, he has been calling the NATO alliance a bunch of jokers.
But right now, it's Bernie and Sid in the morning on the world famous
Talk Radio 77 WABC.
It's a beautiful day. Isn't it? You tell him, Bono. It is a beautiful day on this Thursday morning in the world's greatest city. A dichotomy, of course. We are the world's greatest city. We're also the epicenter of this horrible virus, which is wiping out nearly 1,000 people every single day. But so what? We're in a good mood again today. It's Bernie and Sid. We are every morning. And what a show we've got planned for you today. In fact, it's about an hour between 7:40 a.m. this morning and 8:40 a.m. this morning, where I contend this will be the best show on television, on radio, anywhere in the nation, if not in the world. Starting with Nicole Sapphire, the great doctor, who's on Fox News about 5 days a week. She'll join us at 7:40, give us the latest. Then we go right into America's Mayor, my new buddy, Rudy Giuliani, coming up at 8. And if that's not enough, Bill O'Reilly with his weekly spot coming up at 8:40. How about that for a trio, Bernie?
That is a stellar. That's an A-list guest roster right there.
Well, that's what we do. So good morning, first of all. How do you feel today? You look good?
I feel great.
Yeah?
Thank you. Yeah.
So you've got the virus, but it just doesn't. You don't have any symptoms. You don't have any. I mean, you've got it.
I think I may have had it, and it's come and gone. It's very, very possible.
Yeah.
You as well. Listen, there was I took one day off, but there were a couple of times where I had a sore throat.
I remember.
Mild sore throat.
You actually took one day off.
I took one day off.
It was so nice of you, and I told the story on the air. You could have worked that day, but you were so worried about my son that you took the day off because you didn't want to get me sick to get him sick, which was, you talk about friendship and worrying about others. That was the epitome of it right there. So I know I thank you then. I thank you again. That was beautiful.
That was the height of everybody was worried, and still everybody's still worried, obviously. But there was no reason. I thought also I rationalized it away saying that it's probably just the end of the week, fatigue causing this sleep deprivation, whatever.
Could be.
But you start to hear these reports that so many more people may have had it. It's come and gone, and nobody knows about it. And I might be one of those people.
I think
you too.
I think the study today said that 1 in 7 New Yorkers have already contracted this virus. We may be asymptomatic. We may have. I was sick a couple of days. I don't remember what it was. But, for example, yesterday, my wife, Danielle, she's like, my head is bothering me. I'm like, calm down. It could be a cold. It could be the actual flu. It could be anxiety. It could be stress. And everybody's doing the same thing. If they don't feel all that well, they've got the virus. You don't have the virus. Odds are you don't have it. You've got something going on. You'll be fine tomorrow. And sure enough, every single time this happens, she's fine tomorrow. For example, yesterday we had our first words in a long time because Andrew Cuomo, who I kind of go back and forth with. One day I love him because I think he does a great job with this, and the next day I can't stand him because I'm reminded of who he actually is with bail reform and pardoning cop killers and his hysteria. This idea that everybody must wear a mask when they go outside. So I'm getting ready to go to the park yesterday for my regular 4 o'clock run, get some sun and breathe some fresh air. Yes, breathe some fresh air, folks. And I'm getting yelled at inside the house because where's your mask? I'm like, I'm not wearing a mask. She goes, no, you don't understand. It's mandated now. It's not what you think. It's not what you feel. She goes, first of all, it's very selfish because you may get somebody else sick. Give me a break. And the second thing is they're going to fine you now. She happens to be right about that. Now it is a mandated law. A cop can stop me in the park. By the way, I was in the park yesterday. There had to be 1,000 people, and I would say about 600 were not wearing masks.
I think.
So good luck stopping me.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it started last night at 7 p.m.
Oh, was that right?
You might have been in the.
It
might have been legal
3 hours before. It was legal.
I think so.
Yeah. So today, if it's sunny in the afternoon, I'm going to go to the park. I'm going to take my mask with me. I'm telling you, Bernie, between Riverside Park and Central Park, there'll be thousands of people in the park, and maybe half will be wearing masks. The other half, who's running 3 miles, 6 miles, 10 miles, they can't breathe. They're not going to wear a mask on a beautiful sunny day. This is nonsense.
Yeah,
I mean, come on already. They tell us on one hand the numbers are way down. We're on the back end of the peak. Yes, the numbers of deaths are still high, but intubations are way down. Hospital visits are way down. We got to start to think about reopening the economy. And the next breath they go, but you got to wear a mask every day. Well, which one is it?
Well, that's a good question, but I believe it's on Friday. It starts mandatory all MTA subways, all that stuff.
Well, I wear a mask on the subway every day. You should have to wear a mask on the subway. You're inside; it's a petri dish. Not when you're walking outside on a beautiful day. That's nonsense.
Well, you know what?
It's not even airborne. This virus.
Why don't we play what he said just to clarify?
Son of a bitch!
I'm not exactly sure. I believe it's Friday. It starts with the subways, and I thought it was 7 o'clock last night. Listen to Governor Cuomo.
So if you're going to get on public transit, you're going to get on a bus, you're going to get on a subway, you're going to stand on a subway platform, you're going to walk in a neighborhood that is busy, you're going to be on a sidewalk, you're going to pass other people on a sidewalk, you're not going to be able to maintain social distancing.
Oh, come on.
You must wear a mask.
You must do this.
Or cloth.
So it does start, but it starts Friday.
Well, I don't know when it starts, but the idea, you can't tell us on one hand things are getting better, 80% hospital visits down, 90% intubations down. Now I'm meeting with all the governors of 6 different northeastern states to talk about reopening the economy, but no matter where you go now, even though it's getting better, so my wife says to me, well, it makes sense, stupid. Because he is getting ready to reopen the economy, and people are going to be getting together now. There's going to be more people congregating. You have to maintain social distance. But if he opens my office, for example, and 20 people show up, we have to wear masks. I'm like, okay, well, when you get to the office, put the mask on. But when you're outside in the sunlight in the daytime for a virus I keep being told is not really airborne, why am I wearing a mask? Why?
I guess out of an abundance of caution. So
oh, come on.
I guess, I don't know. It's I haven't worn. I wore a towel yesterday. When
I saw that.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Be honest. When you go running by your house, you wear a mask.
I ran yesterday. I ran like 5 miles. I did not wear a mask.
Of course not.
No, I don't think I will.
No, of course not. See, but when you say you don't think you will, I was told last night. Now you're starting to piss me off. Why? I mean, I just don't look. I maintained. I was actually really happy. I was celebrating last night with the people in Michigan. I hate to say it, for the folks out there that are sick or have lost loved ones, I was celebrating. They've got it right. What these mayors and governors are doing in this country, I am almost 99% sure, is unconstitutional.
It's Michigan, it's Kentucky, it's Pennsylvania. There were several states where people actually took to the streets. The governor in Kentucky was interrupted. He was giving a little speech, and he was heckled, and it was protest. What they're doing might very well be unconstitutional.
I think it is.
And a little bit of overreach and a little bit of grandstanding.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Well, listen,
at the very least a little.
Rudy Giuliani's going to join us at 8 o'clock today. He's my buddy, of course, now. We have these 7 o'clock nightly phone calls, and he'll tell us this later. He is convinced this is a way overreach. My wife was listening and others. Way overreach. And he really believes in his heart of hearts this is all about the election.
Now you're nailing it.
He believes that they are going to make this as bad as possible. Even though the numbers tell us completely different, they're going to keep this as bad as possible because all these Democrat mayors and governors want to make sure come November, Donald Trump takes it in the rectum. Bottom line.
No, there's no question about it. I believe that's true for a lot of these people. Governor Cuomo, I don't know. I was getting the feeling that he was sincere, that he really wants to do the right thing. Governor Newsom, same thing. I was getting the feeling.
Governor Newsom, this son of a gun,
I know,
yesterday gave out checks to illegal immigrants. Millions.
I understood. That's his philosophy.
And then he goes out and tells everybody no sporting events until 2021. Why would you do that? You know, you always killed de Blasio, and you're right. Why would you say I'm going to close the beaches in April? If you're Gavin Newsom, why would you tell 3 different football fans, teams of 3 different teams, that there'll be no football until 2021 for fans?
What's the point of telegraphing that at this date? Wait, let's take it on a month-by-month basis.
He's a putz, too.
Least.
He's also a putz.
Well, of course they are. You know, in normal times, these people are despicable is what they are. I mean, what they do with giving taxpayer dollars to illegal immigrants. Look, if we've learned nothing from this thing, is that having borders matters and not rewarding illegal behavior, illegal crossings, like giving money to illegal immigrants, that's not the thing to do at all. If we've learned anything from this particular crisis right now, borders matter in a big way. Look at the EU. The EU, they're closing borders left and right. Germany's taking care of Germany. Italy's taking care of Italy. They're closing borders. They're not saying, oh, we're all Europeans. We got to take care of each other.
No.
Oh, we got to take care of Europeans. No, they're saying we got to take care of our own country. So we learned that. And apparently Gavin Newsom hasn't, but he's been good up until now.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, look, that's what he believes. I'm not going to get too angry at the guy.
Wow.
Right. He didn't politicize the whole pandemic during in the height of the crisis.
Because he hasn't been nasty to Trump, and Cuomo kind of goes back and forth with that. One day he likes him, one day, well, I'm not so sure. But, you know, I don't understand the inconsistencies, things are looking good, but now it's going to be worse. And now, you know, this is funny, but last Monday, Rich Lowry was on this show. He's on every Monday, National Review. And he told us he had some concrete evidence from some young lady who was hired back in November of 2019 by one of these labs in Wuhan, China. Yeah. Concrete evidence. He thought at that time it was 70%. He dropped it to 50% this Monday. You know, he's being a little bit of a wussy there.
Oh, maybe he's going back now.
Well, yeah, because there's concrete evidence that this virus was created in a lab in China. I always said it. I don't believe in this wet market, bats and monkeys and whatever nonsense it is. There is no way they did this worldwide damage because a couple of folks had some bad meat in a Chinese market. Come on.
It turns out that probably an intern got infected where they were messing around with this virus from a bat. And then she had a boyfriend in the wet market, which was just a couple of miles away from this virology lab.
Right there, actually.
Yeah, and that's where that's how it all got started. And then, of course, the communist Chinese government and the WHO enabled them to lie and to.
Well, they keep it quiet. They kept it quiet. I think initially they were like, "Oh my God, what did we do here?"
And shockingly, there are people actually in this country, Nancy Pelosi and the people in the media, siding with the Chinese.
I know.
And the WHO.
Oh, I know.
It's outrageous.
I was watching.
You're talking about politics.
No, I know. I watched last night. I was I didn't watch it. My family watched it, so I had no choice. I was like one of these Iraqi videos, sitting there with a knife behind my head, and I watched Bill Ritter, he's a very sweet guy, but he's impossible.
Told you.
Now Liz Cho at home, she's worse. Into David Muir, and David Muir, who well, let me tell you something. When he doesn't have his makeup on, his hair isn't done right, he looks like hell. But he He was sitting there interviewing Bill and Melissa Gates. When did Bill Gates, I know he's a multi-billionaire, he's a genius, Microsoft computer, one of the most successful guys ever. He's a legendary guy, no question. When did Bill Gates become the expert on all this stuff? And he's yelling and screaming that that Donald Trump had no right to cut off the funding to WHO. Wait a second, those bastards lied? They stole? They cheated?
Let me tell you something. They were told by the Chinese government, the free Chinese government of Taiwan, the Republic of China. The Communist China is known as the People's Republic of China. Taiwan used to be known as the Republic of China. They warned the WHO. They said, listen, this is human-to-human transmissions that's causing this.
Right.
And the WHO said, shut up.
Yeah, right.
We don't believe you.
Then you had that idiot who runs that thing, that Ethiopian guy who talks about people coming back in body bags.
That guy should be in Guantanamo.
I know. I wanted to punch him in the face last night. Anyway, we're in a good mood. You? Nicole Sapphire, Rudy Giuliani, Bill O'Reilly. The phones, as always, are open. You got to call us, so we want to hear from you. 1-800-848-WABC, 1-800-848-9222. Thursday morning with Bernie and Sid. Does it get any better than that?
Being Native American has been part of my story, I guess, since the day I was born.
We are in this together. 77 WABC.
Chris Cuomo's back on the Bernie and Sid show. Heard everywhere in the 77 WABC app. Chris Cuomo's wife diagnosed with the coronavirus. And remember just a couple of days ago, he was screaming about this biker who came up to him. And apparently the quote-unquote biker was yelling, saying, I thought you had coronavirus. What are you doing out there with these people and your family and stuff like that? And that's what he got ticked off at. Well, it turns out that they weren't practicing. He wasn't keeping the family. So he wasn't isolating from his family. He wasn't quarantining.
You're not supposed to.
Yes, you are. If you have the coronavirus.
Oh, if you have it, but we don't know that he didn't give it to her 3 weeks ago before he knew he had it.
Well, no, that's true.
I mean, this biker's just being a jerk off. Let's be honest. Chris Cuomo gets attacked all the time.
Let me just say this about that. The quote unquote biker.
Yeah.
There was a picture of him in the New York Post yesterday. Mm-hmm. And he's like, he looks like a 70-year-old man. You know, when you think biker, you thought maybe some tough fat guy.
Hell's Angel.
Yeah, that's what you thought.
Yeah.
This guy was some skinny little, remember the guy who used to run the marathons here, the Fred LeBeau, whatever the freak his name was?
Yes.
Anyway, he looked like that guy Chris Cuomo was talking about.
Do you think it's a setup? Or?
No, I'm just saying he was some skinny little weasel biker type.
Yeah.
And anyway, that's who he was being tough with.
If you're at home and all you've got is your girlfriend or your wife, and you've got nobody else, right? And you've got the virus, and you're not going to die from it. Chris Cuomo's not going to die from it. He's in great shape, and his wife's not going to die from it. And you know the only sex you're going to get is in that apartment or in that house from that person. You're not going to say anything, are you?
You're not going to say anything?
No.
Well, I mean, if you have the virus...
For what? So you give her the virus, so she has to take Tylenol for 4 days.
You don't know that.
She may not sleep with you for a month.
She may have some unknown underlying condition.
You got to take that risk.
Let me just say this.
Next thing you know, she's not going to want to sleep with you for 2 months, 3 months. She's going to stay away from you. You can't take that risk.
You know what the reality of having this virus is for people when it gets severe?
What?
Is that a certain form of mucus covers their lungs. It coats your lungs.
Right.
And it literally, you literally choke to death.
Right,
yes.
like Jimi Hendrix, yes.
Right.
I know that. It's a very nasty, disgusting, uncomfortable death.
And that happens to, and they've had underlying conditions, but young people as well as old, it's horrible.
Very few
all
young
these,
people.
every day you hear this 700, 800 deaths a day. That's how they're dying. They're literally choking to death alone.
I'm still not saying a word.
What's that?
I'm still not going to say nothing.
You're gonna take the chance to give your wife that,
or your girlfriend, whoever it is, sure. Or you could sit by yourself for 3 months.
Or because this guy was going on TV at night pretending that he was isolated in his basement.
Yeah, he was.
And meanwhile, he was busted by this biker hanging out with the family.
No, I know. I mean, they actually tell you. I was watching on a serious note because I'm half joking and half not, to be honest. But on Channel 7, they were saying yesterday that even in your, I told you that day I was doing a radio show. It was actually a video radio show on Zoom with Sookie and Scott Stanford. And I do these shows all the time on the corner of 105th Street. And the same couple keeps running outside and yelling at me to shut my mouth because I'm saying pro-Donald Trump stuff. And they come running out of the apartment. They're already donned in masks and gloves. They're actually paying attention. They want you inside your own house with your own family to wear masks and gloves. That is ridiculous. But they want you to do that. Not just outside. If you're in your apartment with your family, they recommend you wear a mask and gloves. Give me a break. Come on.
This has devolved into it's devolved from a health crisis into an occasion to take away your civil liberties, into a power grab. You mentioned it earlier. To undermine the president in November.
That's what I think it is.
I mean, when all is said and done, they want this to continue into the fall, so it hurts the president.
I really believe that's part of the motivation. There's no other way you can explain to me why they keep giving us statistics, which are unarguable statistics that say we're getting better, and yet they start to enforce things on us as if the virus just hit last night. I don't get it.
Yeah, well, they had various protests, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, Michigan. That lady, that petty tyrant in Michigan, I mean, she's definitely grandstanding. She's taken a cue from Governor Cuomo's page, but she's not Governor Cuomo, and she wants to. She's banning people from going to their little cottage up north in the lake or whatever.
Ridiculous.
They own 2 homes.
Right.
You can't garden. You can't plant flowers. Why not? You can't buy paint in a hardware store, even if you're in the hardware store already. The hardware store's still open, but the paint section is closed off, and this lessens the space. And more crowded, the space that you're allowed to go in will have more people because they closed off the paint section. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, you tell us. Maybe you think it makes sense. Bernie and I are in total agreement here that it's getting a little out of hand. 1-800-848-WABC, 1-800-848-9222. How do you folks feel? You're out there every single day just like we are, and do you feel like all this is a necessary means to an end, which is what they'll try to explain to you, or do you feel like Bernie and I, which is it's getting a bit outrageous? It really is. I mean, you can't give us statistics that tell us things are getting better and then do things that say things are getting worse. Doesn't make sense. Nicole Sapmeyer coming up at 7:40, Rudy Giuliani at 8:05, and Bill O'Reilly at 8:40. Matt Meany and Chad Lopez behind the glass. It's a monster Bernie and Sid show on a Thursday, and we're coming right back.
You can depend on us. The trusted voice for New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. North America's most powerful radio station. 77 WABC News. Weather and traffic now.
Overcast skies. I'm Deborah Valentine. Now what's trending on 77 WABC and WABCRadio.com. President Trump expected to unveil new guidance on reopening the economy. That'll happen later today. He'll also speak with governors around the nation before the announcement. A decision on the shuttering of New Jersey's schools also expected today. WABC News Time, 6:33. That's time for Joe Nolan with WABC Traffic and Transit.
All right, Deb, Long Island Expressway now on the eastbound side at Glen Cove Road. There's a disabled truck on the inbound side at exit 51. That earlier disabled now is out of the way. Drive southbound on the 140s. We have 2 lanes out. That road work continues. If you're on 287, southbound exit 5 Stelton Road, that accident still on that off-ramp. Jersey Turnpike, northbound inner roadway, still closed the entire way. That for the ongoing road work. On the commuter rails, they are on or close to their current schedules. And alternate side of the street parking rules are suspended. I'm Joe Nolan with traffic on Talk Radio 77 WABC.
We'll get to all of you, Artie, Judith, Mike, Tim, Scott in a second. And we got a great guest that's coming your way, Nicole Sapmeyer, Rudy Giuliani, and Bill O'Reilly. So I'm making my way to the park yesterday, minding my own business, of course, like I do.
Riverside Park.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
Not Central Riverside yesterday. Minding my own business, and about 15 feet away, I see some guy. He looks exactly like that Upper West Side douchebag. And so he's talking to some lady, also playing the part, the white hair, you know, these, you don't know what sexual preference you have no idea what these people.
They're normally the kind of lady that would wear a pea hat.
Thank you. Exactly.
At a protest.
On 72nd and Amsterdam,
yes.
That's right. So I'm about 15 feet away, and I hear this guy scream, well, it's not going to get better anytime soon with this inept moron in the White House. Now, at that point, I've got 2 choices. I can be an adult and continue on my way and just go about my run and not worry about it. Or, because I can't help myself, I can get involved in the conversation, which I was not invited to. Well, what do you think I did?
I think you opted for the former.
Correct. The latter, actually. I got involved in the conversation.
You did get involved.
I did. So
that's a bad move.
So
bad move out of you.
I know. I'm about 10 feet away, and I go, oh, no, you're right. Thank God Joe Biden's going to save us. Now, I said it. I was oozing, dripping with sarcasm. But this idiot, this Upper West Side moron, he doesn't. He goes, thank God, right? So then I look back, I go, hey, buddy, I'm only kidding. And I swear to God, he goes, whatever, a-hole. He actually said the word, the actual word for rectum, for anus. Whatever, a-hole. And he walked away. So I tweeted last night, I go, this is the way New Age Democrat liberals converse and or debate and or argue. It just ended with, whatever, a-hole. And